The only podcast without a co-host. This is Bombers. Hey everyone, welcome to this week of Bombers. It's going to be an interesting one because it is just me, Bomber number 5, Anthony aka Deg. Zyber, Bomber number 3, is currently on vacation. Good for him. Wish I was. That's not fair. I was just recently on vacation myself. He's out for this week, so it's up to me to entertain you this week. He pre-recorded an episode for next week. You can look forward to that. And I believe he'll be back and handling something in 2 weeks when I will be out. So I guess I do get my vacation. Although I'll be doing volunteer work, not necessarily vacation work. Hey, you know what? Not important. What is important is that you're here with me today, alone. Just Deg. All Deg. I'm not looking forward to this next part. I'll tell you that for a fact. Normally, Zyber does the Bombtastic News, so now I have to do the Bombtastic News. Hey everyone, it's time for... Nope, too excited. Need to drop back into Zyber Zone. It's time for everyone's favorite part of the show. It's the Bombtastic News. Hey, did you know that we're on YouTube? You can go to YouTube and search for This Is Bombers, and you can listen to these podcast episodes with wiggly lines on the screen instead of just listening through your normal podcast episode listeners. I don't know what I'm saying here. We also have a website, thisisbombers.com, where you can get all kinds of cool information about us, the Bombers, our Discord, all the different places that you can listen to us or watch us play games, such as the fact that, hey, we're on Twitch and you can watch us play games on Twitch. Twitch.tv/thisisbombers. We also have our Patreon if you like what we're doing. Give us money to listen to this more easily. No, not really. But you can potentially unlock a pre-show and post-show by becoming a friend of the show, best friend of the show, executive bomb-deucer, or if you just want access to the only friends portion of our Discord, you can become an acquaintance of the show. Special shout-outs to our best friends, Anne and Rob. You two are awesome. Thank you very much for being best friends with us. And to our friends, Haley, Aaron, and Reaper. Less awesome, but still very much thanks, and you're great. Maybe not awesome, but great. We'll go with great. Thanks again to all of our friends and to our acquaintances. Let's cover now some of the upcoming releases this week. On Tuesday the 12th, Time on Frog Island is a interesting adventure-style game where you are shipwrecked on Frog Island, and you have to survive this tropical island life to try and find a way off. Mostly featuring calm exploration and a trading sequence among all of the different frog NPCs on the island in order to get the materials that you need to build your boat to leave the island. That will be coming out, as I said, this Tuesday, the 12th, on PlayStation 4 and 5, the Xbox and Xbox One, the Switch, and PC. So it is coming for everything. So if you want more of a relaxed experience, go check that out. Speaking of relaxed experiences, coming out on Thursday the 14th is the gold release version of Power Wash Simulator. It is getting its full release. And I gotta tell you, I'm pretty excited about that. The game is very just zen. I mean, we've played it a couple of times on stream, so you've seen the kind of relaxation, almost ASMR-iness of the sound of the power washer, water, whatever, power water. You've got the fun, like very fulfilling aspect of just getting all of the dirt off. Occasionally it does get kind of annoying trying to get those last little bits, but that's where the fun and challenge comes from, right? That gold release of Power Wash Simulator is coming live to PC, Xbox, and Xbox One. I'm not sure if it's limited time release or if that's just what it's going to be, but definitely check that out. That's our news. Thanks for listening. I'm going to do a brief little bit of Minish recap, just to let you know what's been up with me, because it'll fill time and you can listen to me talk. This past weekend, I went out and worked security for a cosplay car wash and car show that was put on as a fundraising campaign for the convention that I help run. So we had partnered up with some of the local car enthusiast groups to have them come into a parking lot and put their cars all around with really cool, decals and stickers or just interesting imports. I think one of the highlights was what was essentially a Hilux truck, not really actually a Hilux, but it had that look to it. It was just a simple, small flatbed, the kind of trucks that you see in anime a lot, driving around Japan in those shows. And the truck had a sign on the front, Isekai Delivery Service. Because in those isekai, those animes where, I was reborn in a world as blah. I've gone back in time to a different medieval fantasy world. It always happens getting hit by a truck. Main character walks out in the road, saves a little kid, saves a puppy, whatever. Bam! Hit by a truck. Back in time. Back in a different world. Cross dimensions through unexplainable means, because it doesn't really matter how it happens. Ow, I just smacked myself. So that truck's pretty funny, the Isekai Delivery. There was also one, racing style car that had a bunch of decals put on it of speed lines that was kind of cool to look at. A whole bunch of people with just anime girl decals and whatnot. And we also had a car wash going simultaneously in another part of the parking lot to have people come in. And that was a cosplay car wash, so there were a bunch of people in bikinis and blue hair and etc. washing cars and taking donations. And I was working security, one, to make sure nobody got rowdy, and two, to make sure nobody got, run over. Kind of an important thing when there are cars all over the place. Very annoying, by the way, the amount of people that just drove past me, even though I was standing in a bright orange polo shirt next to an orange traffic cone, moving the traffic cone so that they could come through, and waving to them hey, what's up? Because I was trying to direct people, you can park here, please don't drive here, there are people here, and if you hit them, it will be bad for everybody. People just drove right past me. Not a single regard, despite the fact that I was there blocking traffic, very bright and orange, and trying to get their attention. I don't get what is up with people. Nobody cares that you think you should be here. You shouldn't be here. We had permitted off that parking lot. It, for all intents and purposes, it belonged to us. You were being let in by my own choice to let you in, and two, I needed to let you through because you'd be blocking traffic on the main road if you just sat there, and that's bad too. And people just ignored me, just driving through. Doesn't matter. I'm wherever I want to be is fine. Man. But standing there watching these cones, I was out in the sun on a very bright July day in a parking lot for 7 hours. I got super-duper sunburnt, real bad. And to top it off, because of the way that I had been standing there, because of the position of everything, with the sun coming over the sky and where the entrance into the parking lot was and leaning up against the cones to move them around and stuff, the worst part of sunburn that I got was on the back of my knees. And that is such a sensitive and constantly moving portion of the body. It has been just miserable this past week dealing with this. I'm peeling. The skin is peeling because of the sunburn. It's super itchy because of all of that. It's problematic because the skin moves, back in the knee there, with it being warm and everything, gets a little sweaty. So it's not great, and I don't love it. So don't get sunburned on the back of your knees, everyone. That is you know what? Take this. Bringing back that old segment of here, I'm going to recommend something that you do or take. Don't get sunburned on the back of your knees. That is my take this for season 4. It's just the entirety of the season. Don't get burnt by the sun on the back of your knees. It's uncomfortable, it's painful, it's just annoying, it sucks, don't do it. But the event itself was great, we had a good time. There was a DJ playing some good, like, anime music, popular music, old school, like, weeb dance type stuff, like caramel dancing and all that kind of silliness, so that was fun. There's a couple food trucks, one selling ice cream, one selling hot dogs. The hot dogs were really good. Hot dogs and sausages, turkey, pork, and beef is what he offered there. And by the end of it, he was running down on supply and about to leave and didn't want to take anything back, so I got a free hot dog after buying 2 hot dogs throughout the day because I was hungry and I was there for 7 hours. I had actually skipped breakfast that morning because I had to help load the truck, and then when it was over, I had to help unload the truck. And then afterwards, we went to the bar. By that point, the sunburn was starting to hurt, so I needed the bar. Yeah, it went successfully. Raised enough money. I just sat on the light. Raised enough money overall through all of the different fundraising things that we were doing throughout the past month, roughly, that the convention is fine, and we will be continuing through this year. And that is the reason why I'll be gone in about 2 weeks, and Zyber will have to take over. I'll be working that convention. I'm sure you'll hear about it in the Discord. In the Discord. Not a bomber show without a burp. Other Ministry Cup stuff, we started up Terraria for Survival Sundays. The first episode of it happened last Sunday. Well, the previous Sunday, not this past one, because that was episode 2, and we're running through that. I've played a little bit of this in the past, but this is the first time that I'm actually like getting into it and doing the bosses and actually like playing instead of just goofing around with what is 2D Minecraft, but not really, as some people have chosen to describe it, because it has that aesthetic, but the actual gameplay is much more about burning through and fighting the bosses than it is about the actual crafting portion of it. A lot more combat is central to their Terraria experience than it is in Minecraft, and it's been okay so far. We'll see how it keeps going as we continue to play it. I'm actually pausing the this Sunday's Survival Sunday is actually being delayed for me to record this episode because I wanted to get something out to Ians for this week. Because, and here's the real meat and potatoes, as it were, of the episode. I had been working on putting together the definitive Zelda timeline, which is my take on how the Zelda games fit how the Zelda games fit. Oh boy, I cannot talk right now. My take on how the Zelda games fit chronologically together. I wrote a first draft, I recorded a first draft episode, it sucked, I hated it, it shall never see the light of day, it has been deleted, in fact, so don't ask for it. And sat down and was working on a second draft, and that was going kind of okay, but kind of slow, and then I realized what I really want to do, and what I think is going to actually come out of this project, and eventually end with the definitive Zelda timeline, is I think I'm going to start a new series on our Twitch of me playing through all of the Zelda games. I might end up skipping some portions here or there if it just takes too long. For instance, I mean, Zelda 2 Adventure of Link is just kind of honestly a bad game. I just don't like it. It's not fun for me to play. So I might play a little bit of that and then skip it. There could be other decisions throughout as I'm playing through it, but that's what I think. I think we're gonna do that. Let us know, let me know, or, whatever, in the Discord how you feel about this idea. If you would be interested in watching this playthrough, and more importantly, there are a few. Amusingly enough, there are a few multiplayer Zelda games. Most specifically, I'm thinking of Triforce Heroes, which will require some other people to play with. When it comes to Four Swords and Four Swords Adventure, those ones require actual physically being, couch multiplayer, so we can't really play those online. But if there are local people around the area here, I might sit down with, say, like Rumor, who lives across the road from me, do some multiplayer stuff there. But otherwise, I'm going to try and play through all of the Zelda games, which, among other things, is going to mean that I'm going to have to probably sit down and figure out how to get a capture card style streamable setup for a DS. So that will be an interesting thing to look forward to once we get to that portion of the experience. I do have a Game Boy player for my GameCube, so we at least have those all covered. But the DS games, obviously, there's no real way to stream that. I'm not sure if... Maybe I'll put it up to a vote which versions of the games I will play. Because obviously the original Legend of Zelda has... Obviously the original NES version. There's the Game Boy Advanced copy that was released. There's all the different ones that came out on all the different virtual console options. The GameCube Collector's Edition disc. Same for many others, like, should I play the N64 version of Ocarina of Time? Should I play the DS's Ocarina of Time 3D? Same for Majora's Mask. Honestly, I'll be honest with you, I'll probably want to play the N64 version of that one, not necessarily leave it up to a vote, but that could be a fun thing for people to decide. What version do you want to see when we get to those games? And I think I'll play through in, like, release order, not in any form of chronology, and just what I want to do is refresh myself on the things that happen through all of these games, sort of take notes as we go through, so that I can have more of a fresh thought on all of the different plot elements, because that's one of the things that I love the most about doing any form of Zelda theory crafting, is it's an excuse to go back and play the games again, play the games that I love. After playing through a lot of these games so many times, it does tend to get a little bit old. That's why you see the promulgation of all of these randomizers for, Ocarina randomizers, Link to the Past randomizers in general for any games are a way to refresh and make the game new again. And to me, theory crafting and taking notes and paying specific attention to specific text lines and other portions of the game, that is very much a motivator and a way to keep it fresh and to make me go back and play it again. So I figured, why not just use this opportunity to go back and play it again? So if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments in the Discord. We'll see. I'll have to figure out what day to actually play it on. We'll go through and figure out which versions of the games to play, how to stream some of the more complicated ones when we get there. Should be fun, I think. Go on a Zelda adventure with me. So I guess that's Minish Recap. Or Minish Precap, I guess, at that point. Here's a teaser of what's to come in the future. There's really not much else for this episode. It's a shorter one because it's just me, and I don't want to just talk at myself for an hour. I think we're getting barely up to 20 minutes or so, and I'm sort of all voiced out because I don't have Zyber here to bounce off on. But he will be back next week with his own solo episode, and I think he's gonna do something with Haley or with a guest, or he's got something lined up for in 2 weeks. And then whatever date that is, I believe that's actually going to be in August whenever we get back to it. Yes. Starting August 1st, which is the Monday, we'll be back to your regularly scheduled Bombers programming with both me and Zyber, and maybe we'll try to get more guests in or something. That seems fine to me. Thanks for hanging out and listening and checking us out. Go join the Discord. Go leave some comments. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Whatever. Good episode. I did good today. You should all really appreciate what I do for you and give me some congratulations. Okay, bye.